Kuzuzangpo, welcome to Bhutan e-learning project. I am Devmaya Rai. This lesson is a media lesson for Key Stage 5 for class 11 and 12. I am going to take you through a 25 minutes lesson on media. It will include what is media, different types of media, and the evolution of media. Let us begin with what is media. What comes to your mind when you see or hear the word media? Some might be thinking about a cell phone right now. Some might also think about a television set. Well, some might think about a newspaper and even a radio. You are correct. These are the different examples of media. After knowing about the different examples of media, let us now focus on what is media. Media are communication channels. Media are communication outlets and tools used to store and deliver information from one person to another. It is a platform to carry out different types of communication far and near. It is a means of doing something, a mode through which communication takes place. Media are the means or channels of mass communication such as broadcasting, publishing, and the internet collectively. Let us look at the second point. Let us read together. Media is the plural of medium. Now, what does it mean? Medium is an intervening means or a channel through which information is carried or transmitted. The entire medium collectively is known as media. Did you understand? I hope you did. So let us move on to the third one. Could you read that for me? Media consists of television, radio, newspapers, and the internet. They are known as mass media because they can reach to a large number of people at one time. What is this? Take a closer look at this. This is one of the recent Bhutanese movie, Lunana, a Yak in the Classroom. Apart from entertainment, this movie also imparts information regarding the lives of the people of Lunana, their culture and tradition, their custom, their society, and the values they uphold in their community. After watching this movie, the audience are able to get insight into the life of the people of Lunana and understand their unique culture. Here you can see the movie is acting as a media. Did you understand the meaning of media? After the discussion we had, I am sure you have a much better understanding about media. Let us try to understand more about media by discussing the different characteristics of media. Let us have a look at the first point. Media convey message through visual, language, and or sound. Let us discuss about visual. Have you seen a Red Cross sign? What does it signify? What message can you derive from the visual media? Generally, when we see that sign, we think it is associated with the hospital or there is a health unit nearby. Now, can you think of another example of visual media around you? Look around you and find out the visual medias and try to think what message do they convey to you. The first characteristics also includes language. Media has its own language. For example, the print media has its own grammar of language. Likewise, the video has its own film language such as camera angle and shot size. The media language is in place in order to bring high impact of the message to the receiver. The producer uses this language while producing his or her media message. Next we have is the sound. Think of any movie that you have watched. How would the movie appear if it did not have sound? I'm sure you would not have enjoyed the movie as much as you have enjoyed with the sound. And this tells you the importance of sound in conveying media messages. Well, that was the first characteristics of media message. Let us move on to the second characteristics of media. Can you read with me? Media messages are mass produced for a mass audience and are mediated by some form of technology. Now, what does it mean? It means media messages are produced at a large scale for a wide audience. Let us take an example of this lesson. This lesson is a media message. It has been created for a large audience. The large audience is the media students who are watching and learning from this message right now. This point also includes the use of technology. You must keep in mind that technology is a very vital part for mass media. Technology facilitates the delivery of media message from the producer to the receiver. Are you clear about the second characteristics of mass media? Okay then, let us move to the third one. Can you read it for me? Okay. Now let us think about this lesson once again. The educators are the producer of the media message and the learners of media study are the receiver of the media message. The producer and the receiver are not at the same physical space. Did you understand it? It talks about an ideal situation where the producer and the receiver necessarily need not be at the same physical space. But we are connected with technology. I had mentioned earlier in this session the importance of technology, and this point also clearly explains the role of technology in mass media. I hope you understood the characteristics of mass media. After the discussion of the characteristics of mass media, we can highlight the 4 key aspects of mass media. Namely, number 1, mass production. The content of the media message is produced at a very large scale. Number 2, technology driven to disseminate information from the producer to the receiver. Number 3, information driven. Communication outlets and channels are driven by information. And number 4, wide audience. The content designed for the mass media targets at a larger audience. Did you take note of the 4 key aspects? Let me tell you once again. Number 1, mass production. Number 2, technology driven. Number 3, information driven. And number 4, wide audience. I hope you understood the 3 characteristics of media and the 4 key aspects of mass media. Now, having understood what media is and its 3 important characteristics, let us look at the types of media. There are 3 main types of media. The first one is the print media. Print media are considered to be the oldest form of media. It includes newspapers, journals, letters, paintings, write-ups, and other printed materials. The media textbook you have right now with you, is it a media to you? Yes, it can be considered as a print media as it provides us with information regarding the different chapters under media. I'm sure you're well versed with print media, so let us move on to the next form of media, and that is the broadcast media. Broadcast media airs messages using technology. Broadcast medias are news reports broadcast via television or radio. Look at it this way. This lesson is broadcasted to the receiver with the help of a television set. The television set is a form of technology. We have learned about the 2 types of media, namely the print media and the broadcast media. We also have the third type of media. Can you guess which is the third type of media? Did you guess? The third type of media is the internet. The internet is also known as the new media, and the advancement of technology, especially social media, which is also known as Web 2.0, is transforming the media landscape drastically. Nowadays, people are more dependent on internet for online sources of information, entertainment and education. Well, these were the different types of media, and you must have realized at one point of time or the other, we have made use of the different forms of media. Using of the textbook for information about the different topics you are studying, watching different channels like PBS and BBC to update yourself about the happenings around the world, and using internet to collect more information in order to complete your assignment or a practical work. You have made use of the three types of media. To understand more about media, it is also important to study a brief history of the evolution of media. Let me here show you a small clip on the evolution of media. Come, let's watch it together. enjoy the clip. What message did you get from the clip? Well, the clip was talking about the dynamic nature of media and how it keeps on changing over time. We started with print media, then we moved on to the traditional media, and finally, we are living in the era of the new media. As you saw in the clip, there was a gradual development from writing messages to recording audios, and then to the electronic media, and finally to the internet. That was the evolution of media at a global scale. Now let us have a closer look on the media growth in Bhutan. The media growth in Bhutan has two different phases. The first one, earlier forms of media. Under this, we have the messenger or the runner. Have you heard about Gap Lungi Khorlo? Do you know who he is? Do you know why are we mentioning him here? Bhutan has a legendary runner, a male runner by the name Gap Lungi Khorlo. Legend has it that he would set out from Trongsa before sunrise, deliver the mail at Wangdi Phodrang, and return to Trongsa before dusk. He can be considered as one of the earliest forms of media in Bhutan. Until the mobile service entered Bhutan, some remote places heavily dependent on the runners to receive and deliver the messages. Next on we have the oral traditions and the festivals. Let us think about the oral traditions. Have you heard any bedtime stories? Do you remember any one of them? When new media did not exist, these bedtime stories, which were richly laden with moral values, served as an important form of media in the ancient time. The information about moral values were transmitted from generation to generation in the form of bedtime stories. Let us talk about the religious activities or festivals. They were in themselves an institution of imparting information. Religious festivals such as Seichu or a Dromche would disseminate a lot of information through dramatization and exhibition. The audience, after watching different masks dance and skits performed at these festivals, they were able to receive information on spirituality, values, and beliefs. In this way, we understand the oral tradition as a mass media. Next, we have the inscription on stone. After the oral culture, media developed into a written form. The inscriptions mainly consisted of prayers, images of god and goddesses inscribed on the stones. Public messages were disseminated with the help of stone inscription. Likewise, can you identify some earlier forms of media? We are done with the earlier forms of media, so let us move on to the next phase, that is the formal media in Bhutan. Formal media emerged in Bhutan only in 1960 with the first publication of Quinsel, the national newspaper. Around the year 1973, the country witnessed a weekly news and entertainment broadcast, popularly known as NYAB, National Youth Association of Bhutan, initiated by a group of men and women. Later in the year 1986, the government took over it, expanded it, renamed it as BBS, Bhutan Broadcasting Service. Following this, the BBS TV was launched in the year 1999. In the same year, Internet was also introduced to Bhutan. With the advent of Internet in the year 1999, Bhutan has opened to the outside world, and the connectivity within country and outside the country has increased by many folds. Look at how far we have come from a mail runner to the traditional media and finally to the digital world. We have become a part of the global village indefinitely. In this session, we have learned about what is media, different types of media, and the evolution of media. Now let us think for a while. Have you understood what I have explained so far? Let us check what you have understood with some question. Why are media becoming increasingly important? Next, how has media been your lifeline? How has media been your lifeline during the last few weeks? And finally, can you imagine your life without media? Reflect on this question and see what you have learned. Thank you and hope you enjoyed this lesson.